Hey guys, taking some of your questions here on 9.8, factoring completely, kind of wrapping up chapter 9. So I know there's a lot of tough questions on that homework, so don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help on any of those. I'll be more than happy to look at them. But the one we are looking at the one we're looking at right now is number 56 on that homework. And it shows you a box and it gives you the volume and asks you to find the dimensions of that box. All right. So a couple key things here. One of them is you have to realize the formula for volume of a box is length times width times height. And so they give us all of those, the length, the width, and the height. And they give us the volume. So all I've done here is write the starting equation, which is just, hey, let's multiply the three dimensions and set that equal to the volume they give us. And now we want to solve this equation. All right. So the first thing I want to do, obviously, I want to get it to 0. But before that, I got to make this look like a polynomial. So I've got to multiply this through. Now, we haven't talked a lot about multiplying three things. So how do you multiply three different polynomials? The answer is you don't. You do two at a time. So I'm just going to multiply these two, x times x plus 4, and that is the distributive property, all right? So x times x is x squared, and x times 4 is 4x. And now I still have to multiply that by x minus 1, and it still equals 12, okay? I'm going to keep the rest of the equation the same. All I've done is multiply those first two polynomials. Now I'm multiplying two binomials. So this is the double distributive property, all right? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do x squared times x, and that's x cubed. And then x squared times negative 1 is negative 1x squared. Now I'm going to do 4x times both of those. 4x times x is 4x squared, and 4x times negative 1 is negative 4x. And I'm going to cheat a little bit just for sake of time. I also know I want to get this equal to 0, so I am going to subtract 12 on both sides. All right, so that gives me this equation now. Pretty long, complicated equation, but we'll see what we can do with it. Now, before I go any further, I want to see if I can simplify this, and I do have a couple like terms here, a negative 1x squared and a 4x squared, so I can combine those together. All right, so that gives me x cubed plus 3x squared minus 4x, or plus negative 4x, and plus negative 12. All right, so now I've got my polynomial. It's equal to 0. And so to use that 0 product property, I need to factor that left-hand side. I need to get it written as a multiplication thing. We've got 4 terms, and none of them have anything in common. So I can't undistribute a common. But like we looked at in the notes, if I've got 4 terms, I can try grouping. All right, so I'm going to group the first and second one together, and I'm going to group the third and fourth one, and let's see what happens. So x cubed plus 3x squared, what can I factor out there? Well, it looks like I can take out an x squared, and that'll leave me x plus 3. And now negative 4x and negative 12 actually looks like I can take out a negative 4, leaving x plus 3. And so now I'm starting to see something that I like. I see I've got an x plus 3 in common. So I can factor out an x plus 3, and that leaves me x squared plus negative 4. I'm going to write that as x squared minus 4, and it still equals 0. All right, now we're not done yet, because take a look at what I've got here in parentheses. And anytime you see an x squared, you want to look and see, hey, can I factor that even more? And this is one of those that I warned you about, to get to know, recognize, be able to know how to do this. This is a difference of 2 perfect squares. This is a difference of 2 squares. So I can now factor this as x plus 3. And a difference of 2 squares, I can factor that as x plus 2 and x minus 2. And it still equals 0. Now I'm ready to use the 0 product property. I'm multiplying 3 different things and getting 0. So I can set each of those equal to 0. I can say, well, x plus 3 could be 0. X plus 2 could be 0. And or x minus 2 could be 0. And now I just solve each of these. Subtract 3 on both sides. That gives me x equals negative 3. Subtract 2 on both sides. This gives me x equals negative 2. And then add 2 on both sides. This gives me x equals 2. Now, with these story problems, like we've seen in the past, 2 of those answers don't make sense. All right, because if you go back to the picture, x, I think, let me look here, x is a side length. Yeah, x is the height of this box. All right, a box can't have a height of negative 3 inches. All right, so we didn't do anything wrong. That solves the equation. It doesn't answer our question. All right, we can't have a side length of negative 2 inches. All right, so again, we didn't do anything wrong. It just, negatives don't make sense in this situation. So this box is 2 inches, 2 inches high. Now, the other dimensions were x plus 4. Well, now that we know what x is, 2 plus 4 is 6, so it's 6 inches wide. And the other one is x minus 1. And again, now that we know that x is 2, 2 minus 1 is 1 inch. All right, so it's 2 inches high by 4 inches wide by 1 inch deep. All right, and I think if you check that, 4 times 3 times 1 does give us that volume of 12. So we're pretty sure we have the right answer. All right, so pretty involved problem here. If you can follow this, if you got that, give yourself a pat on the back. This is a really tough problem, but hopefully this helps. Again, just start with the equation for volume. Distribute and double distribute on the left-hand side until you get a polynomial. Get it equal to 0. Factor by grouping, and then factor by that difference of 2 squares. All right. Hope this helps. Let me know if you have any other questions. All right. Enjoy your break, and I'll talk to you later. Take care.